Hello and welcome. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I do have a special guest. Her name is Cynthia Perez, and she is from the U.S. Virgin Islands. And what is so special about her is that she is an entrepreneur who is living with sickle cell disease. And we connected on Facebook because I don't know if y'all know this, but I'm an entrepreneur who is living with sickle cell disease. And so we got to talking and we thought, well, since it is Sickle Cell Awareness Month, the month of September, that we should get together and we should share our stories and we should talk about what it's like being an entrepreneur living with sickle cell disease and maybe how you can get involved. So welcome, Cynthia. How are you?
Hi, Simone. Thank you so much for having me. And I love the introduction, but let me make one correction. I am
Okay.
from British Virgin Islands, not the U.S.
British
Virgin Islands.
Virgin Islands. There is
Yes.
a difference. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. British Virgin Islands, not U.S. Virgin Islands. I think I have some family members who are from the U.S. Virgin Islands. I don't even know. It's like Union Island. Yeah, is where they're all from. But like my family is from Trinidad and Tobago. So either way, we're both from the Caribbean in some sort of way, right?
Yes, we
Living in the
definitely are.
U.S. right now.
Definitely.
All right. So, for those of you who don't know, can we let's start by telling them what sickle cell disease is. Oh, give me 1 second. All right. So, before we dive too deep, let's talk about what sickle cell disease is. So, Cynthia, what would you say?
Well, for what I've been told years ago, sickle cell is a hereditary blood disorder. The best way that I could describe it, and I love the way how they use different analogies to describe how the normal red blood cells and how the sickle cells are different, is using the moon. The normal blood cells are round like the moon, and a
Mhm.
sickle cell is like within that first few days of the new moon. I would say like within the about a week or so, 2 weeks is too
Yeah.
far. So like within that first week of the new moon, that sickle shape that
Yeah.
the moon displays, that that is what the sickle cell
Like
look like.
it looks like a quarter moon for those of you astronomists out there. I wouldn't say astrologists, astronomists are out there, right? It's that quarter moon where you're not seeing the full circle, you're seeing just a little piece of it. And so when your red blood cells are that shape flowing through your system, they can clump together. They're not moving through very, very smoothly. They're not carrying all the oxygen that normal red blood cells carry either. And so as they're moving through your system, they should be carrying oxygen, but they're not. They're not carrying that much. And so organs are being damaged because they're not getting the necessary oxygen. Tissues are being damaged because they're not getting the necessary oxygen. And then, oh, this is when it gets bad, is when those cells, because they can't move very freely because they're sickle shape, they clump up together somewhere, normally in your joints, and yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what causes pain. And it's very, very, very bad pain. Now, okay, Cynthia, you are a mother.
Yes.
How many children do you have?
I have one birth son and I have a foster and adopted son. So
Okay,
three sons. Yes.
so three sons. So you have given birth,
Yes.
and you've also had sickle cell crises.
Yes.
How would you compare the pain of giving birth versus the sickle cell crisis?
Well, Simone, oh my gosh, that is so tough because my son was born by cesarean section, and I remember a few weeks before he was born, actually, I went into the hospital because I was having a crisis. So I went to the emergency room, well, to the children's hospital emergency room,
Mm.
because being pregnant, that is where I had to
That's where
go.
they took you.
And
Okay, interesting.
and, and so it was funny because I go and I'm like, I'm feeling this pain in my chest. And I'm like, oh, and I'm telling the nurse that I'm having pain. She goes like, oh no, darling, you're having contractions. I said, no, I'm not having contractions. I'm having a chest pain. I'm having a sickle
Mm.
crisis. And she's like, well, the baby monitor says that you're having contractions. I was like, the baby is not due yet. So
Oh
I
my
kind of
goodness.
having contractions. And it was hilariously funny to me because my sickle pain were confused with having contractions. And so I ended up staying in the hospital for about a week and a half, and then they sent me home because it was false. It was not the baby may be have been having some type of distress that made it seem like I was having contractions, but I was actually having a sickle crisis.
We're actually having
And
a crisis.
yes, and so
Yeah.
it's like sometimes when I think about it, I was like, that was a funny moment in my life, wanting to do this and to experience that and arguing back and forth with the nurse, because she's reading the monitor and I'm like, I can't read no monitor. I don't know how to read that, but I know what my body is telling me.
Right. We know what our body
So
feels.
I
Yeah.
wasn't having pain in my stomach. I was having
Mm.
pain in my chest. So how could that possibly be?
The
And
contractions.
yes.
Yeah. I
So
think sometimes going to the hospital, the doctors and the nurses, they look at numbers, they look at monitors and different things like that, but they really do need us to tell them, like, no, this is what's happening. I remember having a crisis in my chest once, you know, going to the emergency room, and I think I checked in with one nurse. They brought me back, put me in the bed, and a different nurse comes in and he's like, here, take this aspirin. And I said, what are you giving me aspirin for? He says, you're having pain in your chest. I said, I'm not having a heart attack. He said, but you're having pain in your chest. I said, it's a sickle cell crisis. He said, you can tell the difference? I said, yes, I can tell the difference. But I just thought it was the funniest thing. He was like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, you can take the aspirin away. Thank you. That's
definitely,
not what I need right now.
definitely. It is. They always, tend to misdiagnose or want to treat you. And I always make sure that I let them know, hey,
Yeah.
I am diagnosed with sickle cell. So I'm coming in for pain. And this is why I'm here. When I
No,
get
you are
there,
the
the first thing
first
I tell them,
person
I let
I've
them know.
ever heard that says, I'm calling in ahead of time. This is what's going on. This is what I need you to have ready for me so that they are ready when you get there. I
Yes.
mean, uh, the hospital in Columbus, they kind of got to know me a bit because I was going there like every 2 months. It never dawned on me to call ahead. It's like, I need you to have my bed ready and some like extra fluffy pillow. Get the IV ready, bring the nurse with the ultrasound thingy because I'm a very hard stick, all of that, just all of it. I'm coming, people, I'm coming. Be ready.
Yes.
It never occurred to me to do that.
Yes, yes. I always let them know when I was coming in that when I was living in Decatur, in DeKalb County in Georgia, I would call Grady Hospital because to the acute care sickle cell center. I would always
Yeah.
call them. They knew me, from coming to my appointments and everything like that, and being admitted and coming to the emergency room so often. That I made sure that I will call them ahead. I was like, hey, this is Miss Perez, I'm coming in. You know,
Oh. Mm.
it's not that bad, but it's not good either because
Yeah.
they were accustomed to me just dealing with my pain because I have a very high threshold pain tolerance. And so when they see me, it's like, how long you been in pain? I was like,
Yeah.
oh, a minute, it's like, what we keep
Yeah,
telling
it's
you,
like
what we keep
sometimes it's
telling
like
you.
you get used to it, but
Yeah,
then okay, if I'm coming into the hospital, it's bad. Okay, just know it's bad.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I give them, I would tell them that, okay, I'm going to be here for 3 days.
Oh
So,
wow.
oh yes, I would give them my timeline and tell them I'm just going to be here for 3 days. So make sure you give me all the appropriate meds because I'm not coming back again for
Mm,
another 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And
okay. Wow.
make sure that you medicate me well because when I get home, I'm not taking it. I'm not surprised. We're going to send you with a prescription. I was like, yeah, you, yeah, it's your
No,
ink
not
and
for me.
it's your ink and your paper, so you can go ahead and use it because it's
I
not
know,
going to
right?
get
Like
filled.
you can go
I'm not
ahead and
filling
write
it.
it, but am I taking it? No.
No.
No. Yeah, I've been
So,
written prescriptions for a lot of different things that I have not taken. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not taking that. Sorry. That's
in
not
my
happening.
move, I found a prescription. In my move, I found a prescription. I found my sickle cell discharge folder, and there were prescriptions inside of it. And it was from
Yeah.
back in like 2016 or 2014, somewhere around there. I was like,
Mhm.
wow. I told him I don't feel them.
Well, for our audience watching, we I think we described like what sickle cell is. How do you get it? You get it from your parents, right?
Yes.
Each parent has to at least have a carrier gene. We call it trait. Right. So each parent has to have at least one sickle cell gene. One parent could have sickle cell disease themselves.
Yes.
Um, but they have to at least be carriers,
Mm,
and if they are carriers, then their children are what, 1/4 likely
yes. 1 in 4.
to be diagnosed. So I was diagnosed at 15 months when I went into the hospital for an infection. Bad babysitter. And but you weren't diagnosed until you were almost a teenager.
Yes.
My
Yes.
goodness, that must have been rough, like not knowing what's going on, having all this pain in your
Yes.
body all this time and not knowing what's happening.
It was. It was rough. As I said, I grew up in the British Virgin Islands and to a single parent. And my mom, may her soul rest in eternal peace. She just knew, I was born this little chubby little child, and I started losing weight, and she's like, "Oh, she's finally losing the baby weight," and but the thing is that as the pain was beginning to progress more and more, the faster I was losing the weight. So it was like as soon as I lose the weight, the pain came on, and it was just constantly going in that direction because when I was a baby, I wasn't in that much pain. I wasn't having any pain or anything like that. But as I got older, as she said, the baby fat is coming off and the pain was being replaced by
Pain
the
was
fat.
coming.
So I
Ugh,
think I needed to
mercy.
keep the fat and avoid the pain.
Oh my
But that was
goodness.
not the case. And I love going to the beach with my older sister and her family. And I remember this one day we went, and I think that was like the day that I had my most excruciating crisis. And I went, I had fun that Saturday. And by the time I got home, we were at the beach for like maybe about 4 or 5 hours. But by the time I got home that evening, I was having a fever, I was in pain, and my mom did not understand what was going on. And she decided, you know what, let me take her to the hospital one more time and find out what's going on. She took me, they told her they still didn't know what was going on, what was causing the pain or anything like that. All she can do is, she just held me and walked and prayed Lord, just save my baby girl. Just spare my baby girl's life, and I could remember hearing her say that prayer over and over the entire walk. And we lived like maybe about 2 miles away from the hospital, maybe more. I don't know mileage. So, but she walked all the way and she just kept praying in the middle of the night. And now she would always say, "Me alone and God." It was her favorite thing to say. It's just me alone and God. And she walked and she prayed and she walked and she prayed. And I can remember hearing her say, "Lord, please save my baby girl." And I, whenever I get sick, I would always ask God to just spare me for my mom's sake. Just keep me here. Just spare my life.
Yeah.
And so I think that was like one of the roughest times of my life, was to go through that. And a few years later, a family friend came home from medical school and she decided she's going to take me to them and see if they can figure out what was going on with me. And based on what we both described to the doctor, they then told her that I was a sickle cell carrier. And it was further explained without me being in the room to her that most sickle cell people don't live to see the age of 18, or if they do, their lives are not the best. And she was very distraught, and I had to remind her that it was she alone and God.
Right.
And God
That's
spared her
wonderful.
baby life, And so I told her, I
Okay.
said, they may have a hand in my birth, but they have no hand in when I die. So don't
Right.
let that
We
destroy
get to
you,
this, yeah.
you
Us
know.
alone and God, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Um, okay, so I wanted to speak about that a little bit, right? Because we are both women of a certain age,
Yes.
and we have survived up until now, right? And one of the things, oh, do you care about revealing your age on for the
Oh
world to
no,
see?
I love telling people my age. Girl,
You know
please.
what? I like to say old
I
age
am
is a
currently
badge of honor when you have
yes,
sickle cell disease, right? Right. It's like,
yes.
watch me whirl. Right. Okay. So
I
how old are you?
I am 53 years old. I will be turning 54 on October 10th.
Whoop, whoop.
So,
50 for me, y'all. So we here, we doing it. We living
yep.
it.
Yes.
Awesome.
I love
Awesome.
telling people my age because
Yeah.
I
So
feel
it's
that
a,
I have come a long way.
it's a son.
And
Yeah.
you know, just to let people know,
Mm.
doctors don't tell you when you die.
Right. They can't.
They don't.
They can
They
guess.
don't.
They
They
guess.
can
Yeah.
speculate all they want, but they don't know because
It
they're
was
not
what,
God.
30s for me. My mom is here in the audience. Um, they said how much? They said 35. That's what they
Mm,
predicted for me.
okay.
So yeah, blew past that. Didn't even look twice. Right. So my mom is curious. Well, since you have sickle cell disease, that must mean your son has trait. Is that right? At
Yes.
least.
Yes.
How? Oh, well, yes, you could pass on a normal gene. Oh, no, actually, no, they couldn't because both genes are sickle cell genes in a person with sickle cell disease, right? Yeah. Yeah. So then your son would at least have the trait,
Yes. He
but
does have
he
this.
he does not have the disease.
No.
Well,
No.
that's a blessing.
Yes, it is.
That's a
And I
blessing.
educate him on it also.
Yes,
I let him know
absolutely.
that he has to make sure that he finds a woman that does not have the sickle cell trait or
Yeah.
a sickle cell carrier, because I want to have healthy grandbabies one day.
Yes.
you know.
So is he out here in the dating world? Like, excuse me, I'm gonna need you to fill out this form before we go on our first date, and get a blood test, please. Thank you. Before we go any further, Miss Missy.
Let's just save some time, you know.
Yeah, let's just save time.
Just save some
Yeah.
time.
Oh, you have trade. Ah, lovely. Let's just be friends. Coaches, are clients slipping through the cracks in your business, even at 6 or 7 figures? Don't skip this. You're about to find out why your sales growth feels stuck. You're amazing at coaching, but behind the scenes, leads fall through the cracks, admin tasks eat your time, and scaling feels harder than it should. It's not your fault. Your business is leaking opportunities you don't even see. That's why I created free resource 66 strategy holes that are blocking your sales growth. It shows you the exact blind spots in your client lifecycle where you're losing time, money, and clients. So you can finally grow with ease. And these strategies work. One of my clients plugged in just one of my automated systems and grew her revenue 300% while saving over 10 hours every single week. Imagine what fixing just half of these 66 holes could do for you. If you're a serious growth minded coach, stop patching leaks and start scaling with confidence. Join my free online community today and grab your copy of 66 strategy holes that are blocking your sales growth. Click below and get it now. Okay, so my mama wants normal baby grandchildren. Okay, all right.
Definitely.
Oh my goodness. All right. So I
Definitely.
did mention that like we are also entrepreneurs. So you've started a business,
Yes.
even though you are living with sickle cell disease. So tell me the story of how you got started in business. Like, I'm assuming you don't have to have a business. You don't have to work necessarily, right? Are you living on disability? And because I think like in the US, apparently people with sickle cell are just like automatically qualified for disability. Yeah, I know I've had problems on the day job because of sickle cell disease. Um, so tell us, like,
That was a hard thing back in the Virgin Islands, girl. I remember my first job, that 3-month probation. I went in there, I was like, oh, it's only a few hours a day. I got this. I was like
mm,
gung ho. End of my probation. They said, I'm sorry, we have to terminate you.
oh my goodness.
I was like, okay. Um,
Hmm.
well, it was fun, but then the manager said, if there's anything that we can do, please let us know. I said, can I get my job back?
It's like I don't want anything else. So
I
I'm
just want
here.
to come back here and work. And
Yeah.
surprisingly, he looked to my boss and he told my boss, have me come back in 3 months. And so December of that year, I went back to work and I worked there for 12 years.
Oh wow. Okay. So
Yes.
no major problems while you were on the job?
I was sick all the time, but the thing was that um, I was determined. I was determined to prove a point to myself and to
Mm,
those around me, because in case you all don't know, I am also disabled. I am not just diagnosed with sickle cell. I am also diagnosed with very rare disease known as tropical spastic paraplegia, which is deterioration in the lower extremities. And so I am also physically disabled as well as non-physical disabled for the sickle cell
mm,
portion. And when I tell people that, about you were talking about being automatically considered as disabled as a sickle cell person,
Hmm.
They always ask me if me being in a wheelchair has anything to do with the sickle cell. And I'm like, no, that's totally different. But some people that
It
have
can
the
happen.
disease can end up in a
Yeah.
wheelchair because of
I
vascular
actually had a
necrosis,
friend. Yeah.
and other
I I actually had a
illnesses that
friend who
develop.
kind of she ended up in a scooter because she had such a severe crisis in her back that it cracked three of her vertebrae,
Mm,
and she ended up in a scooter. She did recover, and so she didn't have to stay in the scooter. But when it comes to like working was difficult because she would have seizures, constantly. And she was, how you were saying, like you taught your son, like what is sickle cell and what to do when this happens with mommy and all that. She would do that with her kids as she's teaching the kids, and she would tell them like, first lesson, this is sickle cell. If you see Miss Nikki do this, you know, call 911, get some water, hold me up, don't let me fall out the chair, that kind of thing. So, yeah. And eventually they were like, okay, no, we can't have this in the school, so she ended up not being able to keep that job. But I mean, she really loved it. She loved being around the kids, but yeah, having seizures on a consistent basis was
yeah,
not really conducive to the kids' education,
right.
I guess, So that was difficult. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I would have like sometimes I would have crisis in my knees, and one day I'm fine, the next day I'm walking into the job limping or on crutches or something, and they're looking at me like, what is wrong with you? I go,
Wheelchair
yeah,
time
it's
yesterday.
sickle cell. And,
Yes.
it just comes on suddenly and then it goes away. Yeah. So we were talking about you starting a business. So
Yes, yes, you asked me about that.
hmm,
So jumping back into that question, when I was a little girl, I told my mom that I wanted to travel the world for free or next to nothing. And she asked, how are you going to do that? And I said, well, I'm going to become a stewardess because that's what they were called back in the day.
mhm,
They were stewardess, and I was like, I'm gonna become a stewardess. And I got that from watching a television commercial with an airline. I don't know the name of the airline, but every Friday night during Love Boat, this one commercial will come on with this airline, and you see all these different people, and the stewardesses are greeting them, and they're serving them drinks and food and all of that. And they're going to these destinations and stuff. And at the end of the commercial, you will see, like, I think it was like about 3 or 4 or 5 stewardess nicely dressed in the hats and suits, and it's like, come fly
mhm,
with us. I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do, and
yeah.
so um that's where it all started. But God had other plans and it didn't happen. But in 2019, just before COVID hit, I reached out to a friend of mine that did travel, and I asked them if they would help me plan a birthday cruise. And they were like, why would I do that when you can do it yourself and make the commission? I was like, because I want you to do it, you know? And and their response was like, you know what I'm going to do for your birthday? I'm going to gift you your own travel business.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, but why won't you just book it? Like I would still like, why won't you just do this? I had been doing travel for people all the time and stuff like that, and I wasn't making any money. So it was like when she started explaining to me how I could make money doing this, I said, but I have been doing this all these years giving people destination tips and where to go and help buy airplane tickets and do this and do that. I wasn't making any money. So what's the difference? And then she started
Mhm.
explaining. I was like, oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And it was
Yeah.
just like that. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. But in 2021, after COVID and all that was going on during COVID, and people just, it's like it was always all over the news. People are being stuck at home and they're not going anywhere. And then when they started opening up borders and everything, people are like, oh, I need to go travel here, I need to go travel here, I need to do this, I need to do that, because I don't know if I'm gonna get a chance again, and all of that. And
Yeah.
I was like, but what happened to people like me,
Mm.
people that are disabled?
Hmm.
We want to go traveling too. I know I want to go.
Yeah.
And so, but then I am still somewhat limited to the places that I want to go. When I call the hotels, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have any rooms that are set up like that. It comes with a tub. I was like, so you don't have a rolling shower? That's like, no. I
Mm.
was like, okay, thank you. Please hang up the phone, call somebody else. And I was like, there has to have a way. There has
Yeah.
to be a way to do
Yeah.
this. They have to have a company that can help do this. I have a manual wheelchair and a power wheelchair.
Hmm.
And I sometimes I want to go with my power chair because I know that where I'm going is going to be much more easy and convenient for me. But
Yeah.
the hassle of traveling with the power chair is like, oh,
It's
it's
rough.
just so much to do.
Mm.
And so I started doing a lot of investigating and looking into companies, and I became certified with a company called Special Needs Group, and I am a special needs advocate with them. And this company provides wheelchairs, scooters, crutches, every form of mobility, and even oxygen, so that you
Nice.
can go on your vacation, your cruise vacation, or a
So I
destination
can go to
vacation.
Denver, Colorado next. Trips I skipped to Colorado because I was like, oh, I can't go. I
You
can't go
know,
with everybody else because I won't be able to breathe. Oh my goodness.
so
It didn't dawn on me. Carry your oxygen with you.
yes, and little things that people like you and I would not think about doing for ourselves, as non-travel agents.
Yeah.
We wouldn't think about that. But as for me, becoming a travel agent is like my brain just opened up to a world of new things and new possibilities. And I was like, I want to be able to share this with my sickle cell and disabled communities. Let's go. Let's get up and go somewhere. Let's get up and do something. Let's get up and move. We have a
Yeah.
great big world out there to explore, and we can't explore it just watching TV or
Yeah.
watching a
The
travel
travel
show.
channel.
We have to go
Yeah.
and experience it first, because once you immerse yourself in a destination and immerse yourself on a cruise, it is so much
Mhm.
more different than hearing somebody tell you what their experience is like. You need to have
Yeah.
your own experience, because my experience is not going to be your experience, and your
That's
experience is
right.
not going to be mine. And
That's
that is
right.
what I want to do, is to bridge that gap
Hmm.
between us and the able-bodied individuals, um, bridge that gap,
Yeah.
and let us, the differently abled, as I like to call us, differently abled individuals, have the same experience, just in a different way.
Okay. So when did you get started? Oh, so you got started like around right after COVID, is that right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how has it been running your business, having sickle cell, being a differently abled person, and interacting with people in all these different places and traveling? What's that been like?
Oh, on a day to day, I never know what my day is going to be like. And so I basically 100% work from the comfort of my bed. I get up, I get ready, I start my day, I open up my laptop and I do my work. And that is right. So this way, if I start feeling pain, I can always just close the laptop and just lay back in bed and relax for a little bit and then get back
Mm,
up and go again once I start feeling better. Going out and traveling, I love, love to travel. I love to eat also. And so I have been in 2022, I had been on 2 cruises and been to uh, three three states. Was it three
mhm,
states? No, 2 states. California and New York, 2 states and one
mhm.
country, halfway around the world, Dubai, UAE,
Nice.
all in 2022. I did
Oh,
all of that
nice.
and it was fascinating. It was truly magnificent just to be able to go to the different Caribbean islands. We went to Aruba, we went to Curacao, and we went to Grand Cayman on that
Mm,
first cruise. And getting off on Grand Cayman, which was the first stop, I took my manual chair and it rained that day. It rained just before we got off the ship. And so it was like puddles all over. And my clothes was like a hot mess on one side because even though we tried to avoid the puddles, you still ended up going into a little spat of water somewhere and stuff like that.
yeah.
But it was, just to be able to go, it was really, really something experimental to see, and I remember when we were heading back to the ship, there was a police officer. He was directing traffic and he was down. I was like, stop. I want to see them. I want to see him do this. It's like, oh my gosh. I wonder if everybody else is gonna do that. If we go somewhere else, are they gonna be like that? It's just like you just have to go and experience. You have to go
Yeah.
and experience for yourself. Because
And you're showing us that there's no reason that we can't, whether
no,
we have sickle cell, whether we have any kind of disability or anything like that,
yeah,
there we can do it. There's no reason why we can't. There are
we can do
assistive
it.
tools and technology and things to help us out. And as you were saying, people see you coming, stop the traffic. I'm coming through. The queen is
Yeah,
here.
yeah, and
So
it's
awesome.
just it's amazing, like truly amazing. To have that experience, and even on the cruise ship, you know, um, you get there, you're in your wheelchair. They have like a line separate from everybody else for you to go
Mhm.
to, so you pretty much get priority and you go by
Priority service.
next,
Yeah.
you know, like it was nice
Yeah.
knowing you, unless they're in your party, they're not going with you, so you're not traveling with me, you're in that next line. I'll see you when you get on board,
Yeah.
that kind of way.
And get you on board, get you comfortable, and
Yeah.
and everybody else is waiting in line.
Everybody else is waiting and they're trying to be pushing and all of that. And I was like, geez, we all going in the same place. Why are you pushing? Even
Mm.
navigating through the airport. And you said that you lived in Georgia. I don't know if you've
Yeah, for a
flown
little
through
while.
Hartsfield. Hartsfield,
Ooh,
it's
that's
like
an
a
airport.
nightmare,
That is
trying to
quite an
go.
experience. You go ahead. Quite an experience.
Yes, and
Uh,
so going through the international airports, it's being disabled, differently abled, you get some priorities that the able-bodied person will get, you know.
yeah.
And so, like I said, unless they're in your party, they're traveling with you, they're behind. They have to go through all the regular long rigmarole
Hmm.
and everything like that. But being differently abled, you get top priority, you get put through to TSA and everybody checked you and everything like that. Granted, you still have to do your little pat down to make sure that you don't have anything on you. But
Hmm.
it still gets you ahead of the line. It
Yeah, but you're
gets you
still
ahead
ahead
of
of
the
the
curve.
line. That's
And
fantastic.
and the thing is that another thing that people don't know, like people that have weight issue, um, and they can schedule when they book their tickets, they can
Hmm.
request to have wheelchair service.
Okay.
So this way they don't have to go through all that hassle in the lines
Yeah.
also. And
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know that they
Yeah. I didn't know
can
that either.
request.
Hmm.
And not just people with weight issue. You have
Hmm.
you have problems with your knees, your back,
Yeah.
whatever it is that is bothering you, you can
Hmm.
request wheelchair service, and it will get you ahead of the line also. And a lot of people don't know
Well, I'm
that.
gonna use that the next time I go to the airport because I do have knee problems
Yeah.
because of sickle cell. All the damage it's caused in the
When you
past.
book your ticket,
Request
you put
wheelchair
on there
access.
wheel,
Okay,
wheelchair
do
service. Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, see,
definitely.
you're just a fountain of knowledge. So all you who are watching, you guys, you need to follow her online because, if you are differently abled, but you still want to travel,
Yeah.
Cynthia has a travel agency to help you do that. Um, so what you do is like you help people to travel and still be okay,
Yes.
and be prepared for different things that might happen. I think that
Yes.
is really fantastic. So visit her website. It is phoenixrisingtravel.org. I will put it in the show notes. One other thing before we go, I wanted to mention, why are you wearing a red head wrap and I'm wearing a red lipstick?
Come on, girl. You know we do this every
And it
year.
looks gorgeous.
Thank you so
Gorgeous,
much.
darling.
Thank,
Gorgeous.
thank you. I was told that I am the turban queen. I was like,
Mm.
no, I'm not the turban queen. I am actually the queen of accessible travel. But the
I love
purpose of
that.
my
The queen
red,
of accessible travel. I
yes,
love that.
but the purpose of my red today is in honor of National Sickle Cell Awareness Month, which is September. Every year, September is National Sickle Cell Awareness Month, and I try my best to do something red every
Yeah.
year. 2 years ago, I did the red lipstick. So Simone decides she's gonna do red. Hey! And I
Yeah.
have a nice turban headpiece
Yes.
to go along with
For
it.
all the sickle cell survivors and warriors and helpers and advocates out there, we love you, we care for you, we're praying for you, and those of you who are just learning about this disease and what it's all about, just show your support, pray for us, wear red and take a picture and send it to us, and just let us know that you care and that you're out there to support. Visit phoenixrisingtravel.org. So, Cynthia's travel agency isn't just about sickle cell. It's also about accessibility, being able to travel accessibly. Well, much more easily than you would if you didn't know all the stuff that she knows, clearly. So there are some things that I'm going to do differently next time I travel, for sure, for sure. I am so thankful to have met you, and I'm thankful for our talk today.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
we got together,
much.
we hit it off and decided, yes, let's talk about this. Let's get on YouTube. Let's talk about this because, sickle cell. It is Sickle Cell Awareness Month, and there was an airplane that just flew by very, very, very low. Anyway, if you hear news in DC, that's what happened. Um, so we so we wanted to get on here and talk about it. I always say something like tell something of my story, usually for Sickle Cell Awareness Month. And so this has been a lovely bonus. So we may have Cynthia back on the channel one day, who knows. When we started talking on Facebook, I was like, I want podcast guests, and I was like, my niche is high level coaches and consultants. She was like, I'm not a coach, but take a look at my page, and I was like, sickle cell, let's talk. So, so definitely connect with her, absolutely, and share this message with others. And if you are a sickle cell entrepreneur out there, reach out to me because I want to know, where are the others? They're not all. Are there any more in the U.S.? I've been seeing like some in Africa, um, and maybe a couple in the Caribbean, but like, where are the US based sickle cell entrepreneurs? I want to know. Let me know. Maybe we can get together and do something. Anywho, I'm going to stop rambling now. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Cynthia, for being here and for sharing your story, and for educating us a bit about traveling, being able to travel accessibly, and sickle cell. Like, what is that? Because sometimes people hear stuff, they don't know what it is. They just know it's bad. Although, there's a mentor that says, like, and he had polio as a child. He says, looking back, he wouldn't change anything because having it made him the person he is. It forced his body to slow down so that his mind can get engaged and can speed up. For me, I feel like it's made me more compassionate and sympathetic and empathetic towards others who have challenges in their lives. Even the physical and mental challenges in their lives. I'm not sure what other things that God means for my life for the sickle cell to bring out of it, but I know that one thing specifically because there are a lot of people out here who don't really have that kind of heart and compassion for others, um, and a lot of it's because they don't have much in the way of those types of challenges in their own lives, and so they don't really have patience for other people who have those challenges. But I'm thankful for being able to be compassionate towards others, being able to see life from their side of things. So, but God is sovereign, and He knows what He's doing. So when these challenges come to us, it's all to make us better and to glorify our Father in heaven. So, and with that, I think we'll say goodbye. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Simone. I
Oh,
really
thank
enjoyed it.
you.
Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Much love and
Oh,
appreciation.
yeah.
Thank you. And thank you, audience, for listening to me ramble.
All right. Thank you for watching my video. If this content has helped you in any way, help me to share this with others by subscribing to this channel, and please click the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Also, like the video and don't forget to comment below your biggest takeaway so that we can share it with others. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.